are now listening to the most talked about blog talk radio station in the universe. Walk in his ways, Impact Voice Radio. Be prepared to have your mind stimulated, your spirit elevated in ways you couldn't even imagine. Introducing your host and the mastermind behind this unforgettable experience, Furman Jackson Jr. You will not be disappointed. Let's go!
So tonight we're talking about the importance of knowing your financial independence number. How much is it going to take for you to reach your dreams, live comfortably without being forced to return into the workforce? We see it all the time. We retire, and then a lot of us, not by choice, we're forced to go back to work to sustain. I don't want that for you, and I'm sure you don't want that for yourself. Whatever your vision for your future is, we can create a plan. But if you fail to plan, it could lead to devastation. That's all I got for you tonight. But make sure, seek wise counsel, get with your financial coach, financial planner, financial advisor. If you don't have one, feel free. You can DM me, you can message me. I will respond and answer your questions.
Awesome work. Thank you, Anna, for the latest news, financial news and updates for the week. Also, we did some financial tips, so everybody want to get their financial rights, of course. So now we're about to kick it off with Kenny Primetime Williams. We know football season's almost here. We know the NBA is winding down. We know we got the Final Four out of the West, the East. We're going to see how that's all going out. So, Kenny, take away with the latest sports news and updates.
Yes, indeed. Yes, sir. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, everyone. You are now in the prime zone. I want to give shouts out to our lovely guest tonight, Miss Pamela, and I'm so glad to see you tonight. I want to give shouts out to the Mobile, Alabama, Dallas, Texas, the Mississippi Gulf Coast, my hometown, Greenville, Mississippi, by way of Ocean Springs, Mississippi. I'm your host, Kenny Primetime Williams. I'm here for a little sport action for you today. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you was not glued to your chair or couch or whatever you sit on at home this weekend watching NBA playoffs, you should have, because there were some great games. A lot of people got eliminated, a lot of upsets, a lot of it's exciting. That's why they say the NBA is fantastic. But I'm gonna get into it tonight, starting the Eastern Conference Finals against the Boston Celtics and the Miami Heat. Marcus Smart will not be playing tonight for the Boston Celtics. Also, Al Horford is out tonight. But tonight is game one of the Eastern Conference Finals between two big juggernaut teams from the East, the Boston Celtics and the Miami Heat. And I think it's going to be a great series. I'm looking forward to it. It tip off at 8 o'clock tonight. And so I'm going to be looking to catch the first and the second half and see how things gelling with everything. But I'm hoping Boston would come out strong against a strong Miami Heat team at home. But we'll see. Also, with that being said about the Boston Celtics, how they got to the Eastern Conference Final, they eliminated the world champions, the Milwaukee Bucks. That was an awesome game down to the wire. Giannis played his heart out. Big shouts out to him. I look forward to seeing him on next year. But the Boston Celtics came out and they wanted it more and they got it more. So congratulations to them and good luck on them tonight. Also, in the Western Conference, the Dallas Mavericks will be taking on the Golden State Warriors. And this is going to be a showdown. I'm looking forward to it. A team full of shooters, great coaches. Everything is going to be on the line. It's going to be an awesome series. The Dallas Mavericks eliminated the Phoenix Suns on this past weekend. It was a great game as well. In Game 7, and it was a hostile crowd. Dallas came in, got the job done, and we'll have Game 1 tomorrow night against the Golden State Warriors at Golden State. And that will be that. And I hope you tune in and watch that. Everybody, tonight is also the NBA lottery for the prospects that's coming in for the NBA draft. We have players that's getting ready to come out of college and pursue their career in the NBA. And so tonight is the NBA lottery, so teams can have the first choose at the number 1 pick. Moving on to the NFL, Deshaun Watson and the NFL, also along with the Cleveland Browns, They're having starting talks today concerning Deshaun Watson on his past criminal behavior last season, and just finalizing everything and getting everything ready to follow protocol so he can be ready for the upcoming season. While they're doing that, the highly paid quarterback for the Cleveland Browns is hosting a getaway for the team. He is taking the whole bill. You know, Mr. $380 million man is taking the whole team to the Bahamas before they go to the OTAs, and that is going to be an exciting weekend. I wish I was on the Cleveland Browns team right about now. I would have been packing my bags. All I got to do is show up. My quarterback didn't pay for the whole trip. It's going to be a good one. But also, rookie camp has started for all 32 teams in the NFL. Big ups to the rookies that have started their new journey in the NFL with their new prospective teams in their prospective cities. I'm wishing you good luck and also a good season. The NFL schedule has finally been released, ladies and gentlemen, and I don't know if you're a Cowboy fan like I am or Mr. Furman here, but I do want to tell you this. A rematch, week 1, Dallas versus Tampa Bay. It's going to be a rematch. Tom Brady he said he had unfinished business. You're right, Mr. Brady. You had unfinished business because the Cowboys have unfinished business with you. So we're going to see that week 1, but also moving on, a couple of games to be excited for. Denver versus Seattle, Russell Wilson returning back to Seattle. Dallas versus Green Bay, and also Dallas hosting the Super Bowl champions, Los Angeles Rams. Now, finally, the Green Bay Packers finalized their deal with Zaire Alexander, signing him to a 4-year, $84 million extension with $56 million guaranteed. That's good money. That's good money, and it's set for life. So the Green Bay Packers signed him on yesterday, making him the highest defensive back in NFL history. So a big congratulations to him on that. That's all I have for you, ladies and gentlemen. God loves you. Jesus loves you. I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Back to you, Mr. Jackson.
Hey, appreciate you, Kenny. Thank you for the latest sports news and updates as well. But I am looking forward to going to see the season open between our Cowboys, and Tampa Bay. So I will be going to see that game. So I'm very excited to see that in person. I also can see Tom Brady play for the very first time in person. But most importantly, I'm always pulling for my Dallas Cowboys. So we got done with sports. We had some financial tips. Now we're ready to go into some entertainment news. And with some entertainment news, we're going to jump right into our Q&A with our guests for the evening. So, Coach Shay, take away with the latest entertainment news. And with that, we're going to get off to some Q&A with our featured guest for the night.
Hello, everyone. It is Coach Shay. I am back again with your celebrity tea. So, last week, I mentioned to y'all that YFN Lucci, he got stabbed back in February, and y'all, they done got him, y'all. Everybody, they done got everybody. They done got everybody. The whole gang, the whole YSL gang is facing RICO charges. If y'all don't know what the RICO charges, I know y'all been seeing the internet going crazy talking about the racketeering. So it stands for Racketeering, Influence, and Corrupt Organization, which they saying Young Thug was a leader of the Young Slime gang. They did anything from robberies to murders to they have a lot of counts going on. Aggravated assault with deadly weapons. It ain't looking too good for him and Gunna and the rest of these. I think it was about 28 people or so that I counted on the indictment. The indictment is a public record, y'all. You can go check it out. I hope that's a big alert and a big symbolism for younger kids. Like, it's not a game, it's not a joke. People really facing time for being in gangs. They taking it real serious now. Because people's lives are being taken. Also, Bobby Brown, y'all. Bobby Brown is coming out with a biography. He is gonna be coming out on Memorial Day, which will be May 30th. It's gonna be a 2-day event. And he's going to be talking about his struggles with addiction. He's going to be talking about, how he used to be in the limelight. He's also going to be talking about how he's been feeling ever since he lost both of his children to drug addiction and overdose. So y'all definitely want to catch that. That's going to be on A&E I can't wait to watch it because I'm really interested. This is his first time really speaking out. So I'm definitely interested to know what he's going to say about that. In heavier news, all the shootings that's been happening over the weekend, y'all. The mass shooting that happened in Buffalo, New York was just flooring. It was heavy on my heart. This was definitely something I wanted to bring forward in the podcast. Racism and white supremacy, it still exists, y'all. We have to be really aware that we living in the last and evil days. And I just kind of wanted to tap on that because I was in a clubhouse room and I was on an Instagram and an Instagram live and a person had said, it's a time for love and a time for hate. And I was like, it's already enough, hate in the world. And he was like, well, I'm just quoting the Bible, right? So I went and I found this scripture. So it's Ecclesiastes 3:1-8. And it explains how like there is a time for everything. So it's basically the signs of time. So there's a time for everything and a season for every activity under heaven. It's a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to scatter stones and a time to gather them, a time to embrace and a time to refrain, a time to search and a time to give up, a time to find and a time to throw away, a time to tear apart and a time to mend, a time to be silent and a time to speak up, a time to love and a time to hate, and a time for war and a time for peace. And what I really gained from that was like, we are living in that a time zone. Like we're in that, like in that time moment. And so we just really have to be mindful that we are not only in a physical warfare, but we're in a spiritual warfare as well. So y'all be safe, stay prayed up. And that is all I have for your celebrity tea today.
Thank you, Coach Shay, with the latest entertainment news and things. And I'm very excited about tonight's guest also as well. And we also on Facebook Live tonight. So if you on the page, like, share with everybody that you know. I'm very excited about tonight's discussion. We have people that have been running for office as late here on the podcast, but also for the very first time, having someone running for office from my home state of Alabama, of course. Great lady. She's always about success. I always had the same attitude. Like I said, she was my former supervisor back at the sheriff department in Mobile, Alabama, until I transitioned here to the sheriff department here in Dallas. And I'm very excited for her being on tonight's podcast because when you're running for politics, when you're running for office, it's a lot of work, day and night, non-stop. You constantly meet people working in the field, but it's a beautiful thing when you know there's something that you love to do, you're passionate about, and you know that, hey, this is what God wants me to be at. And that's the beautiful thing about it. And I know she has an upcoming kickoff campaign. It's Saturday, May 21st. It's going to be in Mobile, Alabama, of course, and it's going to get more often today. So come out, show your support. And if it's something you're interested in, go ahead, learn, get inspired, get motivated. So we want our guest to introduce herself. We want to thank you again for taking time out to be the schedule. Of course, welcome to Walking This Way's Impact Voice Podcast.
Thank you. And thank you for the invite, allowing me to come onto your show. And I say greetings to each and every one of you all. I am Pamela J. Laffitte. I am here in Mobile, Alabama, but I am running for a statewide office. The office that I am seeking is the Secretary of State for the great state of Alabama. And I am looking forward to being the next Secretary of State, where I will be the Chief Election Officer for the state. I will be the one who will be overseeing the voters' votes, making sure that voter integrity is in place. I will make sure also that the business registration of licenses and whatever else is intact. I will be in charge of over what it is stated over 1,000 duties. And you know that I myself will not be able to keep up with 1,000 duties, but I will rely heavily on those who work inside the office, because those are the people who have the boots on the ground. They know the inside, in and out of that office. And I will make sure that I will get abreast on everything that is needed to be done, and making sure that the voters can realize that they have someone who is passionate for the job, someone who hears their voice, and someone who's going to have that integrity, the honesty, and the excellence to make sure that everything for the day-to-day in and out operation for the state of Alabama is being done, to make sure that what we're actually encountering here in Alabama, and I know in a lot of the other Republican states, is that it is a dark cloud over the state of Alabama, because right now we do not have any Democrats who actually is in the seat statewide. We have a lot of state senators and state House of Representatives where we do not have enough representation, which means that even though if I am, and I hope and I know that through my faith that I'll be elected as being the Secretary of State, but I would need every voter out voting. And the reason why I'm stating that I need every voter out voting, that means not only just for myself, but I need them to vote blue. That means I need those Democrats in the state Senate as well as the House of Representatives to be able to take my platform, especially early voter registration, in order to get it passed in the House and the Senate, just like one of the opponents in the Republican race, Wes Allen, has written several bills, and other Republicans, and having them signed by the governor and enacted in as to law to help suppress voters' votes and voters' rights. You probably wouldn't believe it, but since the Voter Rights Right Act has been signed into law, since that walk from the Edmund Pettus Bridge to Montgomery, and all that Dr. Martin Luther King and the foot soldiers had worked so hard for us to have today, actually we are about to face that again today, because right now there has been another bill that has been signed by the governor, which was authored by Wes Allen, which has been a replica from another state, which is actually going to have the Secretary of State's office, and throughout the different counties, 67 counties here in Alabama, where the fundraising that you're receiving any funds or monies from an entity or individual that is going to be against the law, which means a lot of the different organizations that are on universities, on college campuses, voter leagues, women's group, many groups that go out to actually have voter education, voter registration, signing people, making sure, encouraging people to register to vote, etc., paying those individuals who are working at the polls. That is a thing of the past, and it is now a charge that would be placed on an individual where they will have a arrest history, and that's something that we do not want. So right now, I'm eager to go ahead and get to work. I know I've probably overwhelmingly answered your question, but I'm going to slow down a moment. I'm going to pause. I'm going to give it back to you so that you all will be able to ask more questions of me, because with this office that I am seeking, there is so much meaty substance in it that the people need to know. And we got to make sure that people are getting out to vote, because right now, if we're not voting, that means the Republican Party is going to continue to write bills that are replicas of other states, that is going to continue to suppress voters' rights. You see that, you go to sleep one night, you wake up, you hear that Roe versus Wade is going to be possibly overturned. We don't want to wake up one morning and our civil rights or our voters' rights is going to be overturned. So it's very important, even though a lot of people say that, well, I didn't get a chance to vote. We need to get out of that statement, because I know a lot of people are working today. And the law does state that an employer does have to let their employee off to go and vote. But we see a lot of individuals who have employers who are not allowing or adhering to that law to allow their employees that right to go and vote. So what happens is that voter has not voted, and if they do not or continue to not vote in the local elections, state elections, and federal elections, what happened is that they are written off the voter roll. And that's something that we do not want to happen. So we got to get people stirred up like they are in Georgia. We got to get people energized, especially young people. The older people, they're ready to vote. They're energized. And so we have to get everybody ready to vote. So I give it back over to you, Herman.
I appreciate it. And like I said, the work that you're doing, that's a big task that you're doing. Being in that office in the state of Alabama to represent and also to bring positive change. I know the Bible talks about when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. So I believe it's time for the people to rejoice. We have righteous figures, men and women, that's calling right down the middle to rejoice, know that, hey, I have equal input, I have equal share, and that my voice will be heard and I will not be overlooked. So I'm asking you this, have you always been into politics? That's something that you always interested in growing up?
I have since my younger years, and then especially when I entered into the college years, I was introduced into politics not only by family, but also when I was the college SGA president. I was the Student Government Association president at Bishop State Community College. Before it was renamed to Bishop State Community College, it was SD Bishop State Junior College. So I attended there on a scholarship, an essay scholarship, in which I had written and won second place. And of course, I did receive scholarship funding. And then I went on and I ran for different seats, and I ran for sophomore class president and won, and then I went to the Student Government Association president and won, and I ran as Bishop State Community College as well. But the late Dr. Yvonne Kennedy, she had not only myself as the Student Government Association president, but also Daniel Lambert, who was also part of the student body. She was actually I believe, the sophomore class president during that particular era. And then we had someone else, Roderick, I forgot his last name, but he was our freshman class president. But we all had an important part because during this particular time, we had Alabama Education Association, the late Dr. Paul Hubbard, who was running for the gubernatorial race at that time to become Alabama's next governor. So I've worked in many campaigns across the state. I had the pleasure of working as with the Alabama Democratic Conference as being the vice chair of the youth affairs, where I worked under the leadership of the late Honorable Thomas Biggers. I also worked in many campaigns. I have actually done a lot of canvassing, phone banking, getting out to meet voters and talk about what they actually want to not just hear, but actually what they wanted, and etc. So I've been in this for quite some time.
But awesome. And it, like I said, to that starting off where you at back then to leading up to this point. So why Secretary of State of Alabama? Because that's very big just for the whole just the state by itself.
It is part of the executive branch. It is high. It is working directly underneath the governor, whoever the governor will be voted by and approved by the people by their votes. I think that it's time. I think that from what I have been seeing, the qualifications for running for each office is very simple. If you meet those qualifications, then you pay your fee in order to go ahead and have your name endorsed on and approved by the Democratic Party, and not in place on the ballot. I believe if you get your message across in your platform, I believe the voters will be able to say, hey, I want her to actually represent me because she has a meaty substance platform. And then also we have to understand that when you're running for this seat that I am actually seeking, as I've been told, and I believe it myself, is that it is the most important seat on the entire ballot. It is the most important seat on the entire ballot. I do also believe that all the other seats are very important, but I believe this seat is very, very important because you have to make sure that election integrity is intact. You have to make sure that the day-to-day operations in a business arena world is being upheld as well. And you got to make sure that when you're in this seat that I'm seeking as Secretary of State, that you remain focused and have it as a win-win, a win for the state of Alabama and a win for the voters.
And awesome stuff. And I know with your background with law enforcement, Air Force, and many other hats you wore. So I know that that will play a huge role in your run for Secretary of State. How do you implement all that through your campaign?
I believe that each of the job careers I held, no matter how a number of years of tenure, the United States Air Force brings a lot to the table because not only was I a member of the United States Air Force Reserve, I have served in Operation Enduring Freedom, Noble Eagle. I have received numerous ribbons and also awards as well, commendations. And I've also learned how to work in a fast-paced office that is also not just fast paced, it's just actually knowing the information, retaining the information, knowing the job, knowing where and who to go to if that information is not revealed. And I know how to actually get the information out and get the job done. With the sheriff's office, as a corrections corporal, before I made rank as I stand today as a corrections sergeant, I was an administrative corporal where I made sure that I helped to get employee raises. You can Google it, especially I think it was WPMI, Channel 15 News, and WALA, Channel 10. You may be able to Google on their website how I actually fought for employee raises. I was the vice president and then later the president of the Mobile County Merit System Employees Association before I had to actually resign for that position because of a work conflict. Because when you're the president, there's a lot expected of you. So when I was reassigned after making my sergeant stripes from administration and going back to the detention area, that was going to be a lot of work. And from your past history there, that 12-hour shifts plus, that was going to put a damper on being the president continuously. Because I want to not just be someone who is a card carrier, but if I am a member of an organization, I want to make sure that I am doing what I need to do that is expected of me to do, and to make sure that whatever that organization wants me to do, that I can do it. But I can reassure you this, is that here at Mobile County Metro Jail and the Mobile County Sheriff's Office, we fought for employee raises back in 2015 to 2017 because we went through a drought where we did not receive any raises for about 7 years. I don't know if you remember it or not, but we will receive those raises. We received healthy raises because a lot of the medical insurance had gone up. A lot of people who were diabetics and other medical problems, they had to pay so much of a high, steep copay, and we were able to kind of limit that a little bit as well and help and receive more funding so that people who are actually and had gone to college, received their associate degree, bachelor's degree, master's degree. We now have that as an incentive where employees actually receive that as an extra bonus. We also have where we have employees who work in the security detention area and other areas of the facility where you also have that I believe they are calling, it's not safety incentive, but actually it helps you because you're just working back there under environmental pressures, and if that makes any sense. But I'm very thankful for the work that I have been able to do in order to get employee raises. Also, I wasn't only representing just the sheriff's office, but also all of the entities that make up the Mobile County Personnel Board. So you had many other who were under the Mobile County, such as you had City of Pritchard, City of Chickasaw, you had City of Saraland, Central, Mobile County, Sheriff's Office, Mobile County, Mobile Police Department, the City of Mobile Police, City of Mobile employees, the county employees, all of those different employees who worked under the umbrella at the Mobile County Personnel Board for Mobile County. If they came out to the meetings and they had and needed that advocate and needed that voice, we were all there. And especially our former Lieutenant Caton, who was a great advocate and who was the president also during the time when I was vice president, and worked very tirelessly to help the employees. So I say that to say that also that's not all that I have done, but I've done so many other great things passionately in order to help individuals to get where they need to be.
And that's a beautiful thing. Like I said, it takes special people with a heart to do this type of work, because everybody can do this work. And just made me think about how I said, much is given, much required. Just that in the whole, like I said, with the campaigning, the constant work. I know you, before I left, I know you were doing a lot of running from Montgomery to all over the place, and you still maintain your role as a sergeant, as a supervisor, my supervisor. How did you handle all at one time? Like I said, I know we were doing 12 hours, you back and forth from Montgomery, different places. How do you maintain all that and still keep going strong, keeping it afloat?
You have to prioritize. You have to, actually, faith. I have strong faith, and I prioritize, and I actually make sure that I have written down my long-term goals, and I have written down also short-term goals. It actually gives me that light as to what is most important, what I need to focus on, what is on the hot list. It's just like any other business there, and we have inner office envelopes. I don't know if you recall or not, and one may be red and the other is neutral vanilla color. So that's how I have to prioritize everything that I had to do and just remain focused and go ahead and just get the job done. And I always remind myself, not just myself and others, but no matter what, we got to keep moving forward. No matter what obstacle is placed in the way, we just have to remember we have to adapt and overcome. And that's something that I learned in the military. We have to aim high. That's what we often say, aim high. And then we have to adapt and overcome and keep it moving.
And that's it. And I, as of late, I know been hearing the word discipline. I know you've been in the military. I know y'all big on discipline, and we know that discipline brings on success. And that's gotta have that discipline. I know I got Coach Shay with me, and we're here in Texas. So Shay, I know you got some questions that you want to ask.
It's so nice to meet you. And so great to hear you doing so many awesome things where you are. That's very inspirational, y'all. I consider, like, hearing your story, I consider you a visionary. People like this are like visionaries, y'all. Like, they can see what we don't see. They can see the things that can be changed that we doubt they can change. These people are visionaries, y'all. So thank you for being one of those visionaries in the world that's doing footwork and contributing. And I mean, it take a strong person to do this role. This is not one of those fly by night type of situations. And it do take a lot of faith, and it do take a lot of being humble, right? And a lot of humility. So I really I admire that about you. I can see that about you. Was being the Secretary of State like one of your long-term goals that you had written? I'm just curious.
Well, this is like my initial point of starting. I did my initial run for office was for the state education board. And this is my second office that I am running for. Given this seat here, which I actually have humbled myself for, and I'm actually saying I'm giving it all that I have, as giving it all that I got is what I am actually trying to give. I know that in the Republican Party, as you can see, they have millions of dollars that is being just poured into their what we call a war chest, which means they can actually get their message out and actually allow the voters to know more about themselves on television, radio, and leaflets, push cards, mailing, you name it. But this is not the end of you seeing me. I will be moving forward into additional seats, but I am hoping, and I know that hoping is a lot, but I just know that I will be able to win this seat. But I just need the voter support, and I need all the support that I can get in word of mouth. Actually, people just going out in order for me to just be in the seat that I am seeking for. I'm asking, as I have in a previous request, for everyone to seek at least 5 people. Let's change it. 10 people that you may know. Make sure that you get with those individuals and see if they are a registered voter, starting in your family, your friends, your colleagues, the people you work with, etc., your neighbors, etc., church members, sorority, fraternities, all the organizations you're a member of, to make sure they are a registered voter, to make sure that even if they have to work on that day, have they made arrangements with their employer to be able to take off to go vote? If their employer is not going to allow their individual time off to go and vote, see if they can go ahead and fill out one of those excuse absentee ballots and go ahead and get that accomplished and done so that their vote counts. And then once all of the votes are counted and tallied, then you have me in that initial office and initial seat that I am seeking. And then after I win and my 2 years are up, my 2 terms are up, because you can only hold this particular seat for 2 terms. And then I will see where the Lord will like for me to go next. I always have to check with him because he directs my path. And then after he tells me what I need to do, that's what I will actually do. I hope I answered it in a roundabout. I know it was in a roundabout way, but I hope that you understand where I'm standing at this point.
Most definitely. And I know you got a campaign fundraiser coming up this coming Saturday. I know you're excited about that. I know it's gonna be taking place downtown Mobile. So what can people expect for this special time that you're doing, this special moment to you? So what can the public expect? How can they get involved? How can they help out? Because we know, like they say, it takes a village to raise a child. So we know it takes a village to put you in that office. So what can people expect this coming Saturday?
Well, this coming Saturday, if you have not, I'm asking everyone to come out to my campaign kickoff. Actually, it's not my campaign kickoff. It is the constituents of Alabama's. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, all right. It looks like something was on my end trying to go away, but okay. But what I'm looking for is everyone to come out, not just to my campaign kickoff, but it's the constituents of the state of Alabama's campaign kickoff, because the seat that I am seeking and running for is the voter's seat. And it's very important for every voter to know that. When you do come, or before you come, I'm asking everyone to RSVP. That is to make sure that I have enough food to feed everybody. I can't feed the entire state of Alabama, but Furman, you know, if I can, I will. Okay? So I want to make sure I have enough food. There will be free food. From the free food, there will be live entertainment from Pat Rose featuring drummer Brian Morris. And then also there will be prizes and giveaways. We will be giving, raffling off also Johnny Gill tickets, a pair of free tickets to Johnny Gill's concert that will be later that night at the Wind Creek Casino in Atmore as well. So we are not going to just talk about pork and politics, but we also want to know the voters' issues. What are they facing? And so I want to hear that. I want to mix and I want to mingle. I want to meet all the voters that I can. And I want to know what your issues are. And I want to know what it is that I can do as your next Secretary of State. Now, I do have to ask for donations. And this is the reason why I'm having a fundraiser kickoff, because I'm asking for donations. No donation is too small, because it actually is a blessing to receive whatever I can from anyone. I mean, $5, $10, it goes a long way. If you're fortunate to give more than that, that's also a blessing. But also, from that, I'm asking that when you do come out, and also before, when I have on my Facebook page, is we're going to get that up and running so everyone will know day to day what is Team Pam doing, okay? And so I want to have virtual phone banking where you'll be able to do that from the comfort of your home, to call voters, encourage voters to come on out and vote in November, and to make sure that also we have canvassing where we're go to different neighborhoods and we'll knock on the doors and see if they were like a yard sign in their yard, because I believe you're not actually campaigning unless you get out and you canvass. You have to get out and meet the voters. The state of Alabama, yes, it's a large state, 67 counties, but it can be done with the help of volunteers. So I need as many volunteers as I can receive from each 67 counties. I am going to try my best to get some campaign headquarters open up. I have not been able to open one here yet, but hopefully within 90 days of the election, we will have some campaign headquarters opening up, okay? Besides canvassing and calling voters on the phone, there's so much more that has to be done and will be done, okay? So did I answer your question?
Yeah, you did. And it all sums it up from there. And like I said, no, great time for you. I know this is a very special time for you, you know, as you enter this next phase of your life, your career in office. It's very exciting. We applaud you for that. So I know with the donation, will people also be able to give, you know, online as well?
They will. I do have an Act Blue account. If you go to my campaign website, which is www.pamelalaffitte.com, you will actually be able to go to the About section, read more about myself. You'll be also able to see what my platform is, which is early voting. I am trying my best to see if we can get early voting here in the state of Alabama Friday, Saturday, Monday prior to any primary or general election, or any other election or special elections that may surface. And so besides that, those who have been incarcerated, and when they get out, some of those prisoners, when they get out, their voting rights has been removed. I want to make sure that they don't have to be released, and it takes years and years, if not ever, for them to have their voters' rights restored, because a lot of them are finding out that before they can have their rights restored, they have to pay all of the fines, if any, and a lot of other red tape that they may have to go through. So I want to make sure that I do what I can to reassure that when they are released from state, federal prison, that their voters' rights are immediately restored once they leave, because you want the prisoners who are being released to feel a part of the community, because right now we see the rise of crime and throughout the nation, not just here in Mobile County, but throughout many states in the nation, we see a rise of crime. And I want to make sure that somehow we're kind of mimic the crime and then trying to keep the prison rate numbers down, people in prison. And once you have someone who has that feeling of belonging into a community, then they can be a productive citizen as well. And then also from there, we want to make sure that those who are filling out an absentee ballot, that we right now have to give or select an excuse of the reason why we are voting absentee ballot. I want to change that where it's no excuse absentee ballot. And I think we can do that. I think there's a lot of things that we need to do for business-wise, since we have seen the pandemic that come across this nation and world of COVID-19. I think that Alabama needs to rethink the way that she does business, and I think that the people, the voters, will embrace that as well. Now, like my opponent, I believe in voter integrity, that we need to make sure that each vote has that integrity, and so that we are not on nationwide television stating about voters who voted who were dead and people who should not have voted, but they did vote. But I do believe in election integrity. I do also believe that curbside voting, I know that they did pass a law that you cannot have curbside voting during the COVID-19, but I do believe that those who are handicapped and those who have physical disabilities need to somehow have some kind of friendly invite to the polls, where if just like, say for instance, many businesses today, you can even go to the mall and even Chick-fil-A or any restaurant or some businesses, and if you do whatever order it is online, you can pull up to a parking spot and they'll bring your order out to you. And I feel that if we have those particular voters who have physical disabilities, that we can accommodate them as well, as long as they give the proof, the medical proof or medical signature of their physician stating it can be verified, okay, that they do have a disability. We give them appointment times, they pull up, and we'll have someone to come out to allow them to vote from the curbside from their vehicle as well. I think that I've covered everything so far that's on my push card about my platform, but there's so much more that I would like to go into, but it would take a little bit more time, and I don't want to take more of your time. But I thank you all so much for having me. I really do. I thank you so much. But we have to remember, election is coming up May 24th, okay? And we want everybody out to vote. And so I'm going to start with you all. Please choose at least 10 people that you know. I know it'll go quick. Write them down. Stay with them. See if they need a ride to the polls. Make sure that they go online with the Board of Registrars and make sure that they have looked at their polling place, where they vote, because I know in here in Alabama, they have redrawn the districting lines again, which means that a lot of our polling sites that we thought we vote at, we now do not vote there, some of us, and we have moved to another polling site. So we want to make sure that we don't allow one another to be discouraged, because the way it's going right now, whatever they can do to discourage voters, especially the Democrats, they're trying to keep every Democrat it is from voting. But we need to turn this state blue, and we're looking forward to turning this state blue and making sure that we place it back in the hands of the people who are Democrats, because we have a passion for people, the passion driven to help people, to make sure that we're going to do what we need to do for all of God's people, not just a select group, because no matter what amount of money that you make, we will be a voice for the voiceless and of all of God's people. And I think it's time to make this state blue again, to turn it from red to blue because it's too much dark that is going on. Also, one last thing you probably heard about, it is now a permitless carry state, which means that the sheriff's office, and you probably remember, Furman, at the sheriff's office, you had to buy a pistol permit, a gun permit.
That's true.
And so now a bill was written, it was mimicked or copied from another state. And just because that bill was copied from another state, it was adopted by other Republicans after the author had written it. It was signed, it passed through the House, it passed through the Senate. And then also the governor, Kay Ivey, she did sign it into law where you do not have to purchase a permit to carry a gun. That is really terrible, a terrible bill. And the reason why is because we still see all these mass shootings. We still see the crime rising, not only in the state of Alabama, but across this nation. We see a lot of Republicans on their television campaign ads, which I think is distasteful. They have their guns. Even the governor, Kay Ivey, is showing about in a purse, you have your lipstick and your iPhone, and then she pulls out a gun. I think that's bad taste for our children because our youth need to know the right way to go and not the wrong way, because anything that you bring out in the open and a child attention is seeing it on verbally and seeing it visual. I believe that whatever they actually see, they're beginning to believe, like it teaches you in psychology, that it is the norm. So I believe that there's a lot of things in this state that needs to be cleaned up and corrected. But I can't stress enough that we need to have everyone out voting, and they need to vote blue. And one more thing, I promise you, this is the last, but I'm seeing a lot of Republican commercials as well, and some of those individuals say that they're Democrats, but most of the Republicans are placing them, the candidates are placing them in their commercials. I don't know if you've seen it or not, Furman, but it actually confused the voters as well. And so that means that when they get ready to vote, they're saying, I'm gonna vote for that person, but they don't know who they just voted for because it's who? A Republican. So I'm stressing that the voters need to learn who their candidate is. They need to look at what different organizations they have, their Alabama Democratic Conference, New South Coalition, many other organizations has their ballot guide. And it's good because it actually tells the voter who they have endorsed. They have screened every candidate. They have listened to each candidate as to what they have to offer to the voters. And then actually they have selected, endorsed those individuals. And those are the individuals that they have actually asked the constituents to consider voting at the poll. And the voter, him or herself, can also study a candidate themselves. Okay.
And like I said, we know there's a lot of work to be done. We see it all throughout the community, of course. I know, what about with dealing with the mental health? I know we have a lot of people that are homeless, but also that have mental problems. Would you be dealing with all that as well? How can we clean it up? 'Cause I know, especially here in Dallas, if you go downtown, that's all you see. You see a lot of homeless with a lot of mental issues. And of course, we see that all, especially at working at the jail. I see that all the time.
Yes.
Mental issues. So would y'all be dealing with also, fix with the mental health as well for the people that really do need mental health?
I would love to work if I am appointed or placed on within a team to help the governor to kind of study that. I will be glad to go ahead and help, because actually what I'm seeing here in Mobile, especially if I was the next mayor, if that is God's will, but we're seeking this. But what we see here in Mobile, it is heartbreaking because there are so many homeless people, and I've learned that there are so many juveniles who are actually homeless. And I know with my church that we actually give out food backpacks to kids on Friday, and it actually helps them to study better and return back to school with a better attitude. And so we learned that the ones that who are homeless or who presently are homeless, they had them downtown Mobile. They were in a centralized location, but there was an administrative official here in Mobile who bought a certain property which dispersed them off of that property, and now they are dispersed throughout the city. So no matter if you're on Schillinger Road near the airport, or if you're on Spring Hill Avenue, or either if you're in downtown Mobile, no matter where you are, or either at the mall. I've seen tents out at the mall behind the Walmart. They're sleeping behind different Walmarts, the mall, you name it. But it's sad because they should have a place to go. Also, there's a waterfront rescue mission that's here that the former mayor, the first Black mayor, Sam Jones, had sent monies from the administration over to the waterfront rescue mission, where when they left the nighttime when the homeless individual left, say, one of the night camps or the centers, they were able to go to the homeless day shelter in order to get their mail, to take a shower, to get their clothes clean, to check to see if they were able to receive an email, whether they were able to get a job, you name it, etc. It helped to get those people off the street. It helped to also protect them as well. So I believe that the homeless numbers here in Mobile, it has skyrocketed, and it's not just here in Mobile, it's throughout each 67 counties here in Alabama. I think that there should be special funding, and that will have to come from the highest office, which is the governor's office. I don't know if they can consider putting state monies aside and federal monies joining in order to help kind of curb the homelessness here in the state of Alabama. I think we don't need to just get together and go to the fairground to give them a shave and a haircut and clothes one time a year, but this is something that we need to consider, having a dwelling to house them, to help them, to try to get them rehabilitated and back into the workforce. And I think that should be able to help as well.
Yeah.
Your addictions as well.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Oh yeah, most definitely do, because you see it all the time. I especially see it here in Dallas. You know, you have a lot of homeless, mental. A lot of them, they come to jail on trespass, and they come to find somewhere to get warm. No, when it's going to be cold, raining, and stuff like that. And it's a big issue. But with Secretary of State, do y'all work with other states? Do y'all get together with ideas? So how did that work in office as Secretary of State?
I'm quite sure that there are different conferences where you will meet other Secretary of States from around the nation. And so I will learn more about that once I am seated. And then once I found out everything that's going on, once I'm seated, I'll be glad to come back to fill you in about your seat is being ran.
Awesome. And I know you get ready for this week, and I know you're excited about the campaign, working in the field and stuff like that. But besides all that, what keeps you motivated? What keeps you inspired to keep going forward? Because like I said, that's a big task, and everybody can't do that task. So what keeps you motivated as you making this transition, the next chapter of your life?
The people. The people want to have someone who has that passion, has that drive, and who's going to have that integrity, have that honesty, and have excellence in all that he or she does. And most of all, my faith, because I know that once I go to the master about what my plans are, and once he allow me to know exactly what he needs me to do, that's exactly what keeps me going and motivated.
Man, that's what's up right there. We gotta have that, because we know that his will gotta be done.
Yes.
That's his prayer. His will be done. And I know we pressed for time. I know we got to agree to get off. Shay, you have anything you want to ask Miss Pam before we're ready to get off the air?
No, she actually did such a great job explaining and really giving us some meaty information about what the seat holds. And y'all we need to get out and vote. We did do another, I think, a Democratic candidate before, Mr. Salim, and
Yeah, we did.
yeah, he emphasized how important it was for people to vote. So y'all get out and vote.
Yes.
And make sure that y'all are participating, because we always complain about stuff not going our way.
Yes.
We have to participate. We have to get out and vote. We have to participate in the change, even if we feel as though our little one vote don't count. We still got to do the thing. The little thing that you don't want to do can create the biggest change. So y'all vote for Miss Pam.
And that's what's up right there. And I know we on Facebook Live tonight, and we're about to ready to get off the air. So as our featured guest, you have any final remarks for the listening audience tonight?
I thank you all for listening to me, and I thank you for knowing that I have, and I think you do know that I have the passion and I have the driven force to make sure that the people of Alabama actually has someone in office who's going to listen to the voiceless, and someone who is actually going to move this state forward into the new business arena. We can't continue to do business the way that we did in 1901, the way that the Constitution is still written, and they're trying to actually keep it where it is, instead of allowing that 1901 Constitution to be amended and changed forward. We're here now in 2022, and if we have visions that are actually going to go through solar and actually computer technology and etc., then I think the business feel for the state of Alabama, she needs to do business a different way. And we need to make sure that the voters' voice is heard. We need to make sure that we have early voting. If South Carolina could get it and other states, I know that we can get it right here in Alabama, because you know why the Republicans do not want it? Because all of the voters will come out and they will be suppressed. What they're trying to do to us as being suppressed, they will find out that their votes will be suppressed, because I believe when those Democrats who are actually working hard every day, and their employer, if any, would not allow them off to go and vote as the law states for them to vote, be able to vote, there will be many people who will get out Friday, that Saturday and Monday and vote. And then when all the votes are counted and everything is added up and there is no election fraud, but nothing but election integrity, then the Republican Party will be very, very displeased, because they will find out that maybe they have been doing something that they shouldn't have been doing all along. And everything that's done in the dark, it will be brought to light. And I thank you all. I just want to express, vote, vote, vote. I can't say it enough. Make sure you get your 10 people together and make sure you get them to the polls somehow, some way. Vote, vote, vote. Vote blue. All of the Democrats up and down the ballot, let's get it out and let's support them now in May 24th, as well as in November. Thank you all so much. And if you can, come out to my campaign kickoff. We will be glad to have you here in Mobile this Saturday.
Awesome stuff. And once again, congratulations on the next phase, the next chapter of your career, of course. Big success to you, much success to you, and of course, make an impact in the state of Alabama. We're about to get ready to press off. We want everybody to have a great Tuesday. Stay productive, stay positive, stay focused. Most important, stay disciplined. Stay rooted, stay grounded, more humble, less ego, and let's get it. So y'all have a great, productive night. Stay focused. And most importantly, salute you, Pam, as well. Congratulations to you. Good seeing you again as well. Coach Shay, and to the rest of the crew, y'all have a great, blessed night. We'll see y'all next Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. Have a great, blessed night, everybody. Peace.
You too. Bye-bye.